Hi, my name is Tim Winton. I'm doing a leadership interview for one of my classes with Dr. Hayes in SAGU. I want to introduce to you Pastor Damian Scudamaker. He is the lead pastor of Noblesville Assembly of God in Noblesville, Indiana, and a close personal friend. But Damian, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in Cape Cod and ended up here in Noblesville about 2 years ago. And I've been pastoring here and really love it here.
Amen. Well, our first question I really want to get to is, how did you get into leadership?
Tim, I think the main thing for me is that people believed in me very simply and challenged me and pushed me to become a better person and to become a better believer, a better Christian, if you will. And I think it really challenged me in the area of leadership. They saw something in me.
Right. Saw your potential.
Yeah, and really, I mean, literally, youth leaders just shoving me along that path,
Good old youth pastors.
Yeah, and I loved it. I responded to it. I responded to their positive reinforcement in my life and good example, and then I had parents that believed in me as well, and then through my parents had other relationships in our fellowship of churches that saw the potential as well, and then encouraged me to go after it. So
right. So I know some people say that leaders are born, and others people say that leaders are made. Would you say that you're probably a made leader, as in the way you're? I think we're all born with that leadership gifting, but inside of that, you're trained and raised up that way.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
It's for me, firstborn child, of course,
and
more
natural born
A,
leader,
but, or at least became that way. But then also, I think for me, also just knowing that I needed mentoring and had great mentors in my life, to spur me on. So I'm very thankful for that.
So with your leadership, what would you say your top challenges are?
Top challenges, I would boards.
Boards, yeah.
No, I would say people or groups that are really set in faulty methods of doing things, ways of thinking, and
traditional man-made things.
Yeah, just for the sake of comfort,
right?
You know, and not because they work, even just because we've always done it that way, so to speak. That's one thing, and then another one is recruiting people who are quality, but who last.
Yeah,
because I've recruited some really good quality people, but then
longevity is huge.
Longevity is a big deal. I'd rather recruit somebody who maybe isn't quite ready for it, but who's going to last and grows into it.
Right.
I like that better. And then, honestly, a third thing is changing myself to meet changing needs.
Certainly.
And so I'm kind of back to where I was teasing the board thing, but knowing that I have to change too.
Right. So that's probably one of our top challenges as leaders in the church is that, as the church changes, we have to be able to change with that.
Right. Not just staying current for the sake of being relevant, but for being relevant for the sake of being relevant. Not just looking like I'm there, but actually being that.
So then part of that challenge with we've talked about it several times. The difference between our churches is I'm a church planner and you are a church revitalizer.
Right.
And so you've come into a church that has a long legacy of tradition and church background. And,
right.
And so it's taken you some time just to start to plant a seed.
Just to kind of get going.
Yeah.
Thankfully I've had a board that's a little bit flexible, and they were able to see the need for some things when I described them to them. But even then, it took them like 3 months to kind of get on board with some of the small changes.
I'm going to throw a question here that we didn't plan on, but when you said that you look for people to train, and we're so used to spotting potential,
right?
I think that's what I do. But what do you look for when you start to see somebody that's got the potential? What traits are you looking for?
Number one, character.
Okay.
They've got to have solid character. If they don't, then I'm going to be in a mess. And I know that from my own experience. That's one thing. And then reliability.
Yeah.
Are they a person of their word? Are they on time? If they're not on time to church, I've got a real hard time saying that they're going to be on time to serve in a ministry.
Right.
And usually that does play out that way.
In one of the other classes that I'm in, we're going through the Purpose-Driven Church book with Rick Warren, and he talks about character there. That character is not necessarily just what you believe, but it's in your behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So. I mean, if you think about it, timeliness, punctuality. That is character.
Yeah.
It is. But and nobody's perfect. I don't look for somebody to be perfect. But I want some semblance of professionalism, how they carry themselves. If they're not professional in their, maybe in their personality in every way,
Right.
I at least want them to look like they're professional and have some knowledge.
Right.
With that, because you can tweak here and there. You can make little differences on things. So,
well, my last question is then: those were the challenges, but what would you say your top rewards are?
when we exceed our goals,
Amen.
not just meet them.
Oh, that's
Because when I meet them, that's great. But when we exceed them, and it goes beyond what we expected, that's exciting.
So how do you think that happens?
It's supernatural.
Yeah.
I think that's evidence of seeing God right in the mix of it, and that's huge. Second thing is raising new converts to be disciples.
Right.
Because if we're not making disciples, we're not doing any good.
Yeah. That's key, though. The distinction you made between a new convert and a disciple.
Yeah, I mean, if you could have 1,000 people in the church,
right?
But if you don't have 1,000 disciples, what do you have?
Yeah.
So of course, I'm being a little bit harsh there, but you know what I mean. It's not just good enough to have attenders.
Right.
We're called to make disciples.
Right.
And then the third thing is raising those disciples to be successful leaders who take my place.
Yeah.
That's exciting. This afternoon, I had the opportunity of meeting with an old friend. She was an intern for me and my wife at our youth ministry in Bristol, Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
And she was here in town for the weekend, or for the week, for work. And she and her husband are now the youth pastors at the same church that we youth pastored at.
Awesome.
They took our place.
Isn't that cool?
So, they graduated from Bible college. They were already on their way with that when
Right.
they started attending the church. So that was great. They already had great investments in their lives. But we were able to take them in a real-world application to the next level and really challenge them with the nitty-gritty. So they've not only outdone us size-wise, but they've outlasted us time-wise.
Cool.
There, and they've made a greater difference than we were able to make there.
Wasn't that kind of even the biblical approach? Is that
That's it.
that those who come after us should be better than us?
Yes.
Double.
That's my heart.
The Elijah.
We want the double portion.
Yeah, come on now.
Absolutely.
All right.
So,
well, hey man, thanks for your time today. I
Thanks.
appreciate it, and
Glad to do it.
we'll see you on the other side.
yeah.